Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of TEDXcellence, the show in which I am, for once, not alone. And we come to you live from my Corona bunker on the moon with Dog Cat Fox, a Pepperjack, and today, special guest star, Tailed Feature.
That's good.
Tailed, I am so happy that you are here. When I saw this particular TEDx, I was like, I know exactly who I need to talk to about this.
You knew who would be the most triggered by this, yes?
Yes. Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, my very first live stream on this channel was you and I talking about similar issues 3 years ago, 3.5, whatever years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it just seemed appropriate. But before we get to all that, hello chat, hello everyone. Welcome to Friday, Furious Friday. I don't know. I'm not furious. I just can't think of another F word that isn't, inappropriate. Obscene. There you go. Obscene. Uncalled for. Uncouth. Yeah, so guys, we have a monster of a TEDx here insofar as the length of it. It's about 18 some odd minutes. And if you know from previous shows, that means it's going to be a bit of a slog. So we're going to get into it relatively quickly here. But I will say hello to as many people as I can in as short a time as I can. So those of you who have decided to join us for this odyssey, Tales of Gore, hello. Prosaic Dreams in Blue, hello. Keeverdam, hello. Aloysius Fudpucker, hello. Point Curation, thank you so much. I prefer Guy Fieri. Will this guy be a drive-in, diner, or dive? I don't know, but I'm assuming he's probably going to take a dive at some point. Samanium Nation, hello. Asian Hippie, hello. John Miller, hello. Sultan Al-Fahim, hello. That one Servant of Satania, hello. Quinn the Cultist, hello. And then, of course, Jet Jump, because, of course, it does. The Luke Skywalker 2, hello. Check Your Logic, hello. Zach Osborne, hello. Corey Suzuki, hello. Byron King, hello. Spittlebuggies, hello. Red Chaos Tree, hello. Zombie Teddy, hello. Mr. Joestar, hello. Black Belt for Christ, hello. Brutus, hello. Who's next? Non-Vitae Rex, hello. Prospero, hello. Chapin Cap, hello. Functional, hello. The Useless Rebel, hello. Ms. Slim 1, Guten Tag. That sounded really weird. John Miller, thank you so much. Don't get it or just don't care about piddly crap. Well, that's the thing. Don't get it like they don't experience it or they don't understand it. I'm not sure. It's a very ambiguous title. Let's see. Red Fawn, hello. K. Shull, hello. Rotten Corpse, hello. Sarjim, hello. And Raziel, hello. Okay, guys. As many hellos as I could get in. Oh, Emperor W.R. Costin, hello. Remember to get your bingo card ready. Link is in the description. Per usual, I will play a little bit just to get the sound check. You guys tell me if you can hear it in the chat. And then we will get into the wonderful world of anxiety. Okay, I don't know what the prop is for. I guess we'll find out. You guys hear all the applause? Let me know.
Yes.
Okay, you heard it. I just need chat. Hey, everybody. Speak, dude. Sounds good, says Asian Hippie. All right. Sounds spiffy, even with the finger snaps. Was that finger snaps? I can't tell.
Just poor audio quality, I think.
Could be. Coventry. Is this British?
Coventry is in the West Midlands in England, so...
Okay, get ready for some...
But I really hope he doesn't have Coventry accent.
Uh-oh, well, you'll have to tell me. I can't tell the difference of anything.
I'd like to share a story with you.
I love stories. Don't you love stories?
Oh, yes. Yes.
All right.
That's very academic.
Let's see. If this is a story about his childhood, get ready for your first bingo square, guys.
That best describes why I started getting interested in men's anxiety.
Okay.
And why we don't get it.
Because you're a man and you do have anxiety, maybe? It's possible.
And it started in 2008, in April.
Okay.
But before I do that, I'd like to go back further than that and tell you a story of when I was just 20 years of age.
Why even bring up 2008 if you were going to start there? I mean, like, I want to tell you a story about 2008. But before I get to that, let me tell you a story about like 40 years ago.
Well, he's not a child in that one, so not quite.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I mean, if it's about family, if he talks about family, then it still qualifies.
And this evening I'd gone to my dojo, as I used to.
Your dojo.
I used to study karate.
Oh,
It was a style called Fudoshin, which means immovable mind. And my time studying karate as a young man ended up being 8 years, and it was my complete life at the time. It taught me so much.
You obviously didn't maintain it. Oh, sorry, that's ad hominem. I apologize.
And it taught me about mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
And what it really taught me is that everything is connected.
Wow. The head bone's connected to the neck bone.
Everything is
Or
connected.
does he mean in a kind of more airy-fairy, arty-farty sort of sense?
Well, I mean,
He starts talking about chi, by the way. That's
there you go. Chi. I learned about chi from reading comic books and Power Fist. Or Iron Fist. Power Fist is something else.
So this particular evening, when I'd gone along at the end of training, I had to hold a concrete block.
Oh, is it going to break it on stage?
that would be pretty sweet, actually.
That would be awesome if you okay, I'm like the Yoda, I'm the Splinter. I'm going to show you how to break this concrete block with your bare hand. Oh, that'd be cool.
You need the power of your anxiety to break it.
Oh, the block represents anxiety. Oh, that's deep.
Goal was to hold it in a position.
Break your knee. Break your knee.
Like that, and hold it very firmly.
Shatter your knee. Do it.
And his task was to break 4 of them.
Oh, 4 of them.
Placed all around him. And mine was the first block.
Okay.
And this was the end of a black belt grading. And this guy was extremely talented. His technique was very good. He'd broken many blocks before. It really wasn't a problem. So I held the block. Mine was the first they had to break. And he got himself lined up in a position something like this. It's been a long while, so be kind to me. And he hit the block. But it didn't break.
Oh.
And our master said very quickly, use your other hand.
Too much soy.
And it still didn't break.
Too much soy. Got to train more. That's what you got to do. Okay, so so he was in his last test for black belt, and he couldn't break it with either hand. That's not paid attention too much. Thank you, tall person. Hoy, y'all. Can't watch live, but we'll watch in full later. Happy National Tattoo Day, everybody. Ooh, well, I've got 5 of them. So do I qualify? I can celebrate, right?
Yeah, I'm going to celebrate later, and I have no tattoos. Fuck y'all.
You ever think about getting one?
Occasionally, but I'm too indecisive, and I never know what I want to get.
There you go. Yeah,
family crest one day, maybe something like that.
Yeah, don't get anything commercial. My rules are: don't get anything commercial, don't get any words, and don't get anything in regards to anyone who's still alive.
Yeah,
you never know; your opinion might change of them.
Yes.
And they were both of his hands quite damaged. And I think his spirit a little bit too.
Yeah.
He stopped.
As you would.
And looking back on this, it was my first experience of seeing the power of anxiety. What can really happen, how it can stop us from doing something that we can do normally without any problem whatsoever. In his case, it was breaking a block.
Or was that just lack of skill?
Well, he did say that he'd managed to do it before. So,
okay. So maybe this was the final test, and maybe he worried himself. He psyched himself out.
Yeah, he got nerves, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And at the end of the session, we went and sat downstairs as we normally would do and had a drink. And after a little while, I said to him, so what do you think happened at your grading? And he said, Bob, I've got no idea.
Really?
What I can tell you, he said.
I just don't get it.
For the last 3 or 4 weeks, worrying about it. I was worried about breaking the blocks. Can you believe that?
He psyched himself out.
Yeah.
This is a common thing. I mean, that phrase alone in sports, in book reports, I've heard it since I was a kid. And yeah, it's an understood sort of thing. It's okay. So I'm waiting for the men don't get it part.
I'm wondering if this is going to be men don't understand it rather than
That's what I assume, because I don't
Yeah.
think any rational person, no pun intended, could say that no one understands or no one gets anxiety or has experienced it or something just on the basis of your genitals. So men don't understand anxiety. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what he means. Does he mean by like a very academic psychological sense? I guess it then
I
depends
can't
on.
imagine it's going to be that deep, but
I don't know.
Find out.
Yeah. And if it's all about karate, then yeah, I'm out of luck.
Broken blocks before, and he said, yeah, but I just couldn't do it. And we started laughing a bit, and he started laughing at himself. How crazy it was. Was it the unbreakable block that someone had put in front of us, and this kind of stuff? And as we talked, you could feel almost his energy come back.
Yeah.
And his confidence come back.
Yeah, he relaxed.
And something changed within him.
Yeah, he relaxed.
It's a long story, so I'm going to give you the short version.
Too late.
4 weeks later, he took his grading again. He smashed all the blocks first time without any problem.
All right.
And for me, this was...
people about it.
The what now?
He opened up about it, and then everything was fine.
Yeah. Okay. And that's what men don't do.
But except in this case when they
except in this case, his friend was the wise one. It's all the other men that don't know how to do that. You see.
Yeah.
That's
The friend that is the exception to the rule. So yeah, it's
Therefore, men don't get it. Thank you, Kingslayer Damocles. I haven't donated in a while, so here, have this. Well, thank you so much. It's very generous of you. Thank you so much, guys. And somebody, I forget who it was, somebody said, Scribe has tattoos. I was like, yes, I have 5 small tattoos evenly placed on my body that mean different things, and they're all.
You have a tramp stamp?
No, I don't have a tramp stamp. No, I've got one on each inner forearm. I've got one on the outside of each calf, and I've got one at the top centered just between my shoulder blades. And they're all like, I mean, the ones on my calves are a little longer just because there's more space there, but they're not more than about maybe 3 inches square each or thereabouts. And they're all abstract symbols that are only interpreted correctly by me, essentially, and they're all in places that are covered up by regular clothing because they're not really for display. It's just something I did for me.
Well, I have 2 friends that have sleeve tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is your typical kind of he's a metalhead sort of guy, so it's all kind of your band logos and skulls and dragons and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy is well, he's also into metal and stuff like that, but he's far more sort of deep and philosophical about it, very pretentious, bit like myself. And he just decided to get his entire arm done black.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what he didn't realize was that, or at least he's got a mole in his arm, and they're like, oh, we can't do that. But they've done the rest of his arm by that time.
Oops.
So there's like this little dot that they missed.
And then, of course, there's Count Dankula, who's just got, he's got art all over him.
Yeah, he is a tattoo, pretty much.
Yeah, he's a walking tattoo.
Yeah.
All right.
Looking back, actually, but this was something that really was a great example of what happens when we hold all of our stuff inside.
Yeah.
When men don't talk about their fears, when we decide, look, we can deal with it all ourselves. We don't need to tell anyone about it because, as we know, especially the men in the audience know this, we're men and we're not frightened of anything.
But we all sat in the pub and had a laugh about it.
Yeah.
So
and he volunteered that information without too much coaxing.
Yeah. But we just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, if men don't fear anything, then you wouldn't have asked him what went wrong. You would have just looked upon him as weak, right? Because men don't understand emotions. But no, you're special. You asked him what went wrong, since I know you could do these things before. And then he, being a man, obviously just kind of kept quiet and drank. No, wait, no. He opened up immediately upon someone asking him, and he let go of his anxiety. Golly, him and his friend just must be unicorns.
Yeah, special.
Very special. Unlike all the men in the audience, obviously.
Yeah, none of us ever do that.
No, it's never happened before, and only our speaker is wise enough to relay this information to us.
But it was amazing to see what happened when he talked about this, that he got his strength back.
Man, it's almost like what was his name? Samson regrowing his hair or something. Suddenly his strength was back. It was almost magical. Yeah.
So fast forward a little bit from when I was 20
to 2008. I'm guessing
to April 2008.
Yay!
And I got home after being away for a couple of days, and the answer phone was flashing. It was unusual. And the message went something like this. We're sorry to inform you that David Peter Falco passed away on April the 11th.
Oh, stories of death. That's not fun.
No, I feel bad now for going, yay.
Yeah, well, yeah. And now is the guy who passed away the guy that was the karate guy? Is that it?
And don't tell me he killed himself because he was so anxious about concrete blocks. He just had an irrational phobia of. I know phobias are irrational by default, but anyway, you know what I mean. Of breeze block or something.
No. What happened was he got a new job on a construction site, and there were so many concrete blocks,
and he wasn't allowed to break them.
Exactly. He couldn't express. Oh, you know what? If he does talk about some guy killing himself, I'm gonna feel really terrible right now.
Yeah, it's fine.
Dave was one of my best friends.
But not the karate friend.
He lived in California, been there for 25 years.
Okay, good. Whew.
We used to ride motorbikes together.
Hmm.
In fact, I'd ridden across the desert with him just 6 months before this message.
Oh, that sucks.
And something happened with me at that moment in time. It was like there was a fast neural pathway hitting my emotional self.
You felt sad?
A what?
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. Of something neural pathway. But I just want to say, is he going to say that he's surprised that he felt sad? Given what he's implicated so far about men and their emotions? Let's see.
And something happened with me at that moment in time. It was like there was a fast neural pathway hitting my emotional self.
A fast neural pathway. Did you say fast?
Fast, I think, yeah.
Fast neural pathway. Okay. Was it also furious?
Well, I think the Fast and Furious sounds better than the Fast and the Anxious, doesn't it?
Yeah. there should be like a parody movie called, the Fast and the Fearful or something, And
that'd be better than my version anyway.
Yeah, I think
you're more of the linguist than I.
No, well, hey, I got to justify my major somehow.
I'll see if I can get a Gaelic version of it.
The Fast and the Fearful.
On my empathy.
On your empathy. Oh, okay, like it's just some singular thing within you. All right.
And I just found myself crying.
Oh my God.
In an uncontrollable manner.
Oh
just
no.
Literally crying. One
of your really good friends died and you started crying? You wuss. Oh, sorry.
You strange person. That never happens. F's in the chat.
I mean, from my understanding, one's penis clogs one's tear ducts.
Well, as long as it's not someone else's penis, I suppose.
Oh God.
And I walked downstairs into my kitchen and I hugged my wife. In fact, she hugged me.
Okay.
I just cried.
Yeah.
And my 18-year-old daughter came down the stairs.
Uh-huh.
And I was sobbing.
Okay.
And I thought, this is ridiculous. I can't be crying in front of my daughter.
Why?
Yeah, that's obviously something within him.
Yeah, that sounds like a you problem. So is what you imagine proper male behavior running up against your own instinctual reflexes? Yeah, that's a you problem. Okay, so what did you do when your daughter saw you crying and you knew you couldn't do this in front of your daughter because reasons? What did you do? Did you punch your daughter in the face?
I need to feel like a man again.
I couldn't let my daughter see me like that, so I beat my wife. Oh no.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I feel really weak. I need to stop crying.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that unbelievable?
Oh, this is a family anecdote. He's right. Sorry. Black Belt for Christ, you pointed out. Okay, so now we got the first one on the board, guys. Let me get my bingo card ready here and circle things. So we're going for free space, of course, as it is the free space, and childhood or family anecdote. Okay, we'll also review the other squares real quick. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I'm pretty sure we're going to get to that by the end of this. Takes credit for something done or experienced by others in their demographic. Maybe. He's already talked about men in the abstract. We'll see if it gets worse. Equity, no, not yet. Microaggressions, unconscious bias, not yet. Gratuitous pausing for effect. He's awfully overdramatic, so I might circle that one by the end.
Yeah, well, I mean, Prospero already said she's triggered by his pausing, so...
Oh, well, Prospero says it. Okay, we'll circle gratuitous pausing for effect. Patriarchy, not yet. Leaves out vital context, not particularly yet. We'll see. School to prison pipeline, no. A list, no. Toxic, no. Not yet. Anecdote that probably never happened. I haven't heard anything that doesn't sound like reasonable that would have happened to somebody.
Yeah.
Not yet. Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase, not yet. Feminism, no. Marginalize, marginalization, no. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason. I might almost feel comfortable circling it now, but I'll feel probably assured during the course of it because the whole thing about like men can't feel emotions is kind of...
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, most people when you start crying, if you're crying in front of like your loved one, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone else suddenly comes in, it doesn't matter if you're male or female, you tend to go, I don't want this other person seeing me cry. That's
sure.
A natural kind of thing, like you wouldn't want to cry in the middle of the street or something like that.
Right, but this wasn't like some stranger, some like acquaintance that walked in. This is his daughter.
I know, but it's a different dynamic.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, we don't know what kind of relationship he has with his daughter.
Well, he punches her in the face in order to assert
his masculinity once more. But yeah, I mean, if she's 6 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Then it's kind of like, well, I don't want to have to try and explain why I'm crying to her. So I would that sort of thing. Rather than if she's, 16 or something like that, then suddenly, well, you might sort of start thinking, well, I should be showing an example and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, if you've brought your daughter up in a reasonable way, you say, my friend just died, and they'll go, that's a reasonable reason to be crying then.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a small child, you don't want to upset them kind of thing. I guess we'll see what he says in a second. I backed it up a little bit. Word salad, not yet. You might think, that fast neural pathway thing was on the edge, but it was just a metaphor. Wage gap, no. Speaker should not be in current position or occupation. I don't know what his job is, so I couldn't say. Benevolent condescension. I'm pretty sure we'll have a firm grasp on that one.
Not overtly yet.
Yeah. Systemic institutional, not yet. Plays victim, not yet. He's more like I said, self-wretchedness seems more there, but I don't know about victim of anything yet, unless he starts saying something like society expects something of me or whatever, then maybe. Cultural appropriation, no, unless you want to count karate.
Oh, well, I thought it was the berating people or.
Yeah, I know. No, it is something
partaking in it.
Yeah, no, partaking in it or bringing it up as a point in their argument, that's more of it. And white supremacy privilege, no, not yet, if at all. But okay, so that's the review so far. Assassin the Grey, anecdote that never happened. I haven't heard anything yet that sounds out of reason.
Yeah, nothing sort of makes me think, and then the bus clapped,
right. And the other thing too is, especially in talks where someone is effectively deprecating themselves, unless I'm given reason otherwise, most of the anecdotes, I mean, they're not put there to build themselves up. They're there to show people how pathetic they are. And that's kind of hard not to believe for some. I mean, again, it depends on the specificity, but all the same, those are harder than someone coming out and saying, I'm a hero, I'm a survivor, blah, 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 that kind of thing.
Okay, Sar Jim in the chat just said his job is selling his company's coaching services. But I just saw the block there again, and it'd be really funny if he just went, you couldn't break this block because it's the new deluxe. It was a ploy where he's touting his new design of breeze block.
Yeah, building materials. Yeah, that's what it is. He's selling construction supplies. That's what he's doing. That'd be great. But at the end of it, it's like, you know,
I
and
respect
this
that hustle.
that would be funny. And truth be told, it would not be the first time that TEDx, the stage, has been used as a sales pitch platform.
Well, of course, yeah.
I can't count how many TEDx's where the Trojan horse of the subject matter gradually leads you towards you're giving me an elevator pitch, aren't you? And at the end, it's like, and we developed this new set of pants that have a zipper in the back for women who go to the outdoors and need to go to the bathroom. And I'm not making that one up. That was an actual TEDx talk.
Oh, okay. Or just buy my book.
Buy my book.
Buy my book. What's the thing on the bingo card about the term that they've invented to?
The attempt to coin new buzz phrase. White fragility is sort of like the grandpappy of all of that notion.
Yeah, that's the one that everyone aspires to.
Exactly. They're trying to pitch their next one so they can get their book deal.
White fragility, the perfect Kafka trap.
Okay, so he's sobbing. His daughter walks down the stairs. I backed up the video just a little bit.
I feel really weak. I need to stop crying. I need to stop crying. Isn't that unbelievable?
Maybe I didn't back up quite enough. I want to make sure I didn't miss something. Sorry.
And I thought, this is ridiculous. I can't be crying in front of my daughter.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You're going to sit. I feel really weak. I need to stop crying. I need to stop crying. Isn't that unbelievable?
Unbelievable. Oh,
That's a throwback. Jesus.
I actually that's like a nervous twitch I have now when I watch TV with a friend of mine. Every time that someone on the show or whatever show we're watching says the word unbelievable, I start break out into that little
I pretty much am the same when it comes to that word, especially since I was probably the target demographic of sort of buying singles.
Yeah.
When that came out, I think 96 or something like that.
Yeah. So it's almost like I can't. It's sort of like when I say the word substantive, I have to follow it up with irate bear, just because
of course.
Joke now. And so anytime somebody says unbelievable, I go oh, especially in dramatic shows where it's like really serious, and all of a sudden I'll break out in unbelievable, and then my friend will start cracking up. It's hilarious. Anyway,
good. That's the sort of thing I do as well.
I know. I'm. What can I say? I'm weird. I'm watching TEDx's willingly. What can I tell you?
Well, there is that, yeah.
Lost one of my best friends.
Yes.
Somebody I'd known.
Yes.
Since he was 18.
Yes.
And my natural instinct.
Yes.
As a man.
Yes.
Was to stop crying.
No.
No, it wasn't. Your natural instinct was to cry.
Yeah. Your reaction to someone else coming in the room was to consider, I'm assuming, their feelings. Now, we don't know how old his daughter is. I don't think he said yet. But like Taylor said, if the daughter was like 5 or 6 or something, and he didn't want to upset the child, your instinct wasn't to stop crying. Your instinct was to protect your child. I'm assuming, which is not, that is a selfless act, not a selfish act or some kind of act of callousness. You went up to your wife, you hugged her, and you cried. You cried before you went to your wife. Your natural instinct was to express your sadness. And that's not a bad thing just because you're a man.
Oh, Chatter saying apparently he mentioned that the daughter was 18.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Well then, okay, I obviously I forgot that part. Well then, I don't know.
His natural reaction was to cry until the situation changed.
Yeah, by his own story, he's contradicted himself. Now maybe he wants to show strength to his daughter or something, or not have her worry or something like that. I don't know.
But again, he was fine crying in front of his wife.
Yes, and he's fine crying right after he hung up the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, and so, but now he's contradicting himself. Great.
And it really made me think when I thought about it afterwards. How crazy this stuff is.
What stuff?
What is it about us men?
That you cry when your best friend died? Oh, God, I don't know. What's wrong with us men? Oh, wait, you didn't cry when your best friend died. You wanted to stop crying. Is that what he's talking about, to be fair? Like somebody else walks in the room and then he has a reflex to hold it in. Okay, is that what he's talking about? That is the fault, that is the flaw, that we feel any instance of needing to like contain ourselves or hold ourselves in.
Yeah, I mean, it's about him not wanting to cry in front of his admittedly adult daughter.
Yeah.
It's not just crying in general. It was specifically when she walked into the room. It wasn't that he just immediately went, I should be crying. Oh, my wife's here. Shit, I better stop crying. It wasn't that. It was there's obviously some dynamic there that between him and his daughter that he didn't want to cry in front of her, which is different from what he's saying.
Yes.
He's saying that he wanted to stop crying immediately, even though he didn't say that.
Okay, so, and again, I'm just interpreting before we get more information from him, but so as far as I understand it, his problem is that he had any instinct to restrain himself. Like a healthy man would not have felt the reflex of holding it back when somebody else walks in the room. That's what I'm understanding from his perspective so far. Is that fair?
Seems to be, yeah.
Okay.
That really struggle to show our emotions, to talk about our fears, to let things go.
Except that you've demonstrated in both your anecdotes that you did, or a man did that, that.
Yeah, and
first one, they sat down in the pub and someone asked the guy about it, and he immediately spilled the beans and then felt better after it.
Well,
and then for example, he started crying. He was fine crying in front of his wife. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's maybe some issue there with him and his daughter. I don't know. Wouldn't be able to say. But the way that he's framing it doesn't seem consistent with what he's actually said.
And the other thing that I don't know if he's giving himself any credit for, the fact that he felt the kind of empathy necessary to ask his friend in the first anecdote what was wrong, or even bother broaching the subject, right? That he felt like this guy needed to. I mean, you don't just sort of like spontaneous generation ask somebody if they're okay without sensing that something's wrong. So give yourself some credit for being empathetic a little bit, but apparently you're not that either or something. And you are a man. I don't know. He's confusing me all over the place, but then I don't know if I expected anything better.
The problem I had as well is that Dave was a real fun guy. He was that classic.
He was a mushroom?
Person who enjoyed life. He was a very successful businessman. He built these multi-million-dollar homes north of San Francisco.
Did he use breeze blocks?
You got there before I did.
I mean, he had the life. If I'd put it onto the slides here, you'd just be going, wow, let's do that,
Well, how did he? Okay, but how did he die? Did he die of suicide? I don't think he ever mentioned the cause.
Did sorry. I was going to say, did he get crushed by breeze blocks? But that's
wouldn't that be ironic?
Did he
if
jump
only
off
my friend was there to
buildings?
break them as they fell.
He jumped off one of his own buildings. Sorry, I'm a horrible person.
One of his own buildings fell on. Well, they use shouting building materials. If only they'd use the brand new breeze block from Unbreakable Breeze Blocks from Coventry. Sorry. Purple Pill Perspective, thanks so much. Hi, Scribe and Tailed. I missed the start. I can't miss this. Going back, have some schmeckles. Thank you so much, Purple. Appreciate it.
But there was a serious side to him as well. And what I found out since is that he was supposed to be taking some medication that he perhaps thought he didn't need to. He'd had all sorts of stress going on in his life, and he decided he could deal with it because, after all, he was a man. And we can deal with all this stuff ourselves. We don't need to share it, because if we share it, we'll be weak.
Which
really?
Is right.
Did he read his diary or something and he said, I don't want to be seen as weak, I'm not going to share any of this? Or is this him projecting his own insecurities on his friend, who it's going to sound like he took his own life?
Yeah. It also makes his karate friend that much more unique amongst all men, because he actually opened up at the first opportunity to do so.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we need to stay strong and deal with it ourselves. And I found myself, I'd been cognitive coaching at that point for about 9 years.
You've been cognitive coaching.
Coach.
Cognitive coaching. Oh, thinking coaching. Okay. And your first instinct was to cry, not cry. Right. Okay. And I mean, not that I'm trying to imply there's some cognitive dissonance taking place, but all the same.
Is that one of your?
No, cognitive dissonance is not one of the squares, unfortunately. Leaves out context, that kind of thing. But okay, we'll continue.
Oh, someone said buzzword.
Oh, cognitive coaching? Do you think? Well, I mean, this is business. I don't know. What do you think, Tail? I mean, I can't say I've heard the term before, so it's new to me.
Well, I mean, obviously CBT is a thing. So
cock and ball torture?
Well, that is also a thing.
No, I know. It's like the first time that I was in a psychology class and they talked about CBT, and given that I was in the BDSM club beforehand, and I was like, what? What are we talking about now? Cognitive behavioral therapy. Okay. Whoops. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I don't immediately think cock and ball torture because we move in very different circles. It has to be said. But yeah, I mean, CBT is a thing. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a thing.
Yeah.
And you could be coached in it. So, I mean, it's a wanky title to give yourself.
Yeah.
Cognitive coach.
But I don't know if it's a pitch for a book title. Let's put it that way.
No.
I mean, usually it has to be predicated by something like, and I'm just talking in general about TEDx talks, where the speaker says something like, it's something I like to call, and then they give their thing, right?
Yeah.
That is usually where I would go, that is their own turn of phrase, buzzword that they're going for. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not convinced that buzzword or word salad fits this at the moment anyway. But I'm sure there's going to be if he starts going into his procedure or his practice or anything like that, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of it.
Oh yeah.
And I found myself thinking, if only I
wouldn't you? You're a cognitive coach.
I found myself thinking, I worry for the day where you don't. And I just kind of like, duh.
Well, to be fair, I think this day that you recorded this is probably that day.
All right, I backed up a little bit.
At that point for about 9 years. Yeah. And I found myself thinking, if only I'd have talked to him.
Well, that's a natural thing.
Yes.
When somebody dies, especially if they commit suicide, then you're like, oh, if only. That's a very natural thing for anybody to feel.
Yeah, if only I'd made a phone call that night or something, then maybe things would be different and so on. Yeah, and that happens with so many. I mean, whether it's suicide or not. Like,
true.
If I'd done this, I wish I had said this, or I wish I'd had one last visit. That kind of. So that's everything he's talking about so far is completely understandable and natural. And admittedly, I mean, I'm not like necessarily most men, but nothing he's said so far that he's essentially recriminated himself for after the fact is something that I would fault any man for or any human being for. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm an uncommon man.
Well, I think that's evident.
Oh, it's the CBT thing, isn't it?
Well, I didn't say a thing.
No, it's fine. No, I get your implicit bias. It's okay.
My inference.
Inference. Sure. Okay. Who's the English major here? You stop it. You know your place.
Right then, substantive. Sorry, that one gets me as well. Whenever I see that word, I think I was on that stream. Actually.
Yes, I believe you were when that whole thing. He just couldn't say the word like after 7 attempts to say that word.
In fact, I think he was on a stream without us or without you, and he said that isn't even a word. And then you stream and went, yeah, fucking is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh
man. We're reminiscing. Apologies, chat.
Yeah, sorry. This is what happens when we get together. Thank you, Pinkala Driving 8-Man, for the communist thumbs up because it's red. Do svidaniya, comrade. Sorry, do svidaniya, tovarish. That's as much Russian as I really know.
Oh, that was almost Mokharaj at the end there, isn't it?
Huh. I wonder if there's a connection somewhere in
Hmm.
there. Yeah, we all come from a single source at some point.
That's true.
He'd have been all right. I call it the Messiah complex.
What?
Wait, he calls it that, or
Okay, I gotta I gotta back up because I'm obviously missing some context.
that was
So we need to stay strong and deal with it ourselves.
Right. Okay.
And I found myself, I'd been cognitive coaching at that point for
Yes.
about 9 years.
Yes.
And I found myself thinking, if only I'd have talked to him,
Right.
you know, he'd have been all right. I call it the Messiah complex.
oh, according to the Messiah complex.
Oh, according to the
Oh, so he's basically saying because I was a cognitive coach, I could have saved him, not because I was his friend. I should have called him, the night before.
or he's classifying his reflex of if only I would have as something almost derogatory, like my care for him and my wishfulness that there was something I could do isn't just a natural extension of my grief. No, I'm suffering from a Messiah complex, which almost makes it sound like you're nuts.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that's what he's getting at, because he said according to the Messiah complex.
Okay, well, I guess it depends on how he evaluates the Messiah complex then. Does he see it as something that's as legitimate or something that's forced onto people or something?
Yeah. Let's see what he says.
I could have saved him. And of course, we'll never know. And I've worked and got over that.
Have you? It doesn't sound like it.
Mm.
I don't know, but maybe,
just as well he didn't. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing this talk.
Mm-hmm.
What it started for me was a journey that I need to make sure when I've got clients in front of me or when I'm working in industry, I also work as a troubleshooter in industry, that I really try to get to the men. And I get them to understand that if we hold all this stuff inside, you could be another statistic like my friend Dave.
Okay, now the sentiment there I don't disagree with. I mean, if someone is having problems, if they're having that kind of extensive stress, anxiety, depression, whatever in their life, I don't disagree that, find someone to talk to, find help, etc. That I don't disagree with in any way, shape, or form. So
no, I don't either. But you just know it's going to be. Well, it's the way that it's been framed again.
Yeah.
All men don't talk about their feelings, and then they kill themselves. It's a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah,
if you go in with that patronizing tone, then I think you're probably going to put people off rather than you don't. That's not really how it works. You can't force your way into somebody's life and go, you need to talk to me in case you're going to kill yourself or anything like that. You can't really do that, because if he's coming from the position that all men hold in their emotions and don't talk enough about their emotions, that's not the way that you're going to get through to people. And obviously there is the whole thing where stoicism is actually kind of necessary in certain circumstances as well. So
I'm going to circle benevolent condescension, because at this point he's basically said that all men are inherently flawed and they need help, and anytime that they're not expressing their emotions, obviously they're holding it in and they're sick or something. That seems to be the implication. But the other thing too is that this is not endemic to men. It can be part of just being a person.
It's definitely not all men. Maybe it is. Maybe it affects men more, but it's not like there hasn't been a concerted effort to use the feminist approach of men need to open up about the feelings, and actually men kill themselves more now. So perhaps it's not. Maybe that's. I mean, I know it's the whole sort of thing, causation, correlation, and all that, but maybe it's not the way to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the same time, they're saying men need to open up about their feelings. They're saying inherently men are toxic masculinity, and so on and so forth. So if there is an immutable flaw about who you are, and you can never become better than you are, and you'll always be vilified for being what you are, or never perfect enough because of what you are. Yeah, and now, like Tail said, the amount of male suicide rate versus female, just I think worldwide, is far greater. So to say that there isn't something going on with men in general that needs help, I'm not dismissing that at all. But to say that men don't know how to express their emotions, sometimes it's not a matter of expressing your emotions. I mean, now I will speak for myself. I'll let Tail speak for himself. When it came to my anxiety prior to my getting onto my medication, I could express myself fine. It didn't stop what I was feeling. It didn't stop all the roiling and the insanity and the racing thoughts and everything. I could express myself every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, forever, and the engine would not quit. So it had nothing to do with being able to express myself. I was perfectly fine doing that. It's something, if you actually have real anxiety, you actually have a problem, you have no control over it. And that's part of what fueled the depression, is that no matter how much I reined it in, no matter how much I thought my way through situations, it just kept churning in the background no matter what. It was an inescapable demon. That's, for me at least, was the biggest part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent in fact, all of my adult life sort of battling depression and stuff like that, and no amount of expressing my emotions and talking about how I'm feeling and stuff has ever even remotely alleviated any of that.
Yeah.
Just like you say. So yeah, it's a lot deeper than that. And again, approaching it from the men just need to talk about their feelings and stuff like that. It's coming from that feminist standpoint again, which obviously isn't effective.
Well, it's also coming from a standpoint that, and I don't necessarily blame. I mean, if I confront someone who's never experienced anxiety or depression before, like Ranting Monkey, just as an example, so far as Monkey has said, and I totally believe him, he's never had that problem. He's never experienced depression, or at least any kind of like long term or like that kind of thing. And so, trying to describe it's like trying to describe someone who's blind, what a painting looks like that is done by some abstract master or whatever. Like, how do you do that? It's like two different worlds. And and so someone's saying, dude, you just need to get over it. On the one hand, I go like, I understand you can't understand. On the flip side, it's like, stop talking down to me. I live this every day, and it's not that simple. That's sort of like reflexive anger. Like you're trying to say it's just a light switch. It's not a light switch. That's the thing. It's constant. And so you're always having that sort of push-pull relationship with other people in your life who obviously care about you. And you know that they care about you. And you know that they mean well. But you also know inherently that their advice, their encouragement is basically nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. That this I'm sure this guy is very well-meaning.
Yes.
Yeah, he seems quite sincere, but
yes,
at the same time, yeah, it's that benevolent condescension kind of thing where maybe this worked for him, and so therefore he's projecting it outward on everybody else, and that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the majority of men, it would seem it's not the way forward. The way that he's going about it, yeah, he's being accidentally condescending.
Yeah, and again, I just want to mention something I've talked about before. It's the Dr. Doom paradox. You have someone who, by all their internal intention and declaration, they are doing what they think is the best for themselves, the world, etc. And yet their certitude and their righteousness, even if it's well-meaning, let's say, is not necessarily the cure-all for everyone. And to assess everybody on the basis of their singular perspective and not allow for the possibility that maybe there are other experiences out there than just yours, that's where you start getting into territory of like, Midnight Exile, thank you so much. Women complain that men don't express emotions. Men express emotions. Women castigate, vilify, and abandon men for expressing their emotion. Men stop expressing their emotions, repeat. It's not about expressing your emotions. It's about being in control of one's emotions. That seems to be the most confusing point when I hear arguments from feminists or male feminists, whoever, or even just regular people about men not expressing their emotions. It's they don't express them in the same way as women, generally speaking. It's not that they don't, it's that they do it differently. They do it more restrained, more composed. That doesn't mean better or healthier, depends on the circumstances. It's just different because, surprise, surprise, men and women are different. Otherwise, we wouldn't call them two different words. Thank you, formerly Rod Line. Here's to the anxious / depressed and depressed. I relate all too well. A lot of people do. I think a lot of more people do than maybe they're willing to admit. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, like Mr. Restraining your emotions thing. It's not fun to talk about. It's not something that, and also not only is it not fun to talk about, a lot of us who experience this also know there really isn't going to be anything productive from talking about it personally. Maybe you hope that you talking about it will help somebody else in some way, like how you've been able to manage it or handle it or move past it in some fashion will be useful to someone. But you also what's the point? It's not going to go away because like we just said, no matter how much I try to exorcise the demon, it's never going anywhere. So.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I maybe didn't explain as well as you pretty much said there about when I said this is a sort of a feminist approach. And basically what I mean is, well, it works for women, so why wouldn't it work for men?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
We're physiologically different, so you need a different approach. Is this succinct as I can put it?
Like my friend Dave.
Dave.
And I want to share something with you just now.
Hi, Dave. Dave. How?
Can't do that, Dave.
Yeah, it's like, I can't do that, Dave.
Oh my Dave, God. What?
Wasn't there like a television channel in Britain called Dave?
There is, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now, which I hope can be helpful as well. And it's really going to help me because even though I'm standing up here giving you my message, I have my own anxiety going on right now.
You don't say.
Shocker.
So I want to do a little something together with everybody.
Oh, boy.
Which is a technique I developed.
A group participation. Oh, boy. Here we go, guys. We're going to get started.
And he's got a product to sell in a way.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. This might be a sales pitch. Maybe I should put sales pitch on the bingo card. There's an idea. Let's see if it's for breeze blocks.
I didn't actually because it's called breathing.
Breathing?
And I want us all to do it together. And we're just going to do 2 breaths. We're going to breathe in.
Okay.
And then we're going to breathe out slightly longer than we breathe in. And at the end, we're just going to sit and feel what that's like. And then we're going to do it a second time.
Well, this is probably going to be very useful because his audience is very blue. That's all. If you can, close your eyes. If one of you could keep them open in case anybody takes my wallet, that would be great. But I want to do it together. So first of all, let's relax. Yeah. Okay, relax.
And now breathe in. And then out. Just relax at the end. And back in. And out.
I breathed out my bum as well.
Exhale however you do.
If you find yourself getting anxious about things, you've got the opportunity.
Yeah.
You don't have to go into a Zen pose. You don't have to close your eyes.
Okay.
Just breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
It just calms the brain. It's very interesting.
I think people who have listened to this series for a while now have actually heard me do that. Like when someone says something completely inane or insane, I'll just go like, okay, something like that. That's how I kind of already do that. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Breathing, by God, was that the answer to everything? Who needs a doctor anymore? Well, I'll tell you what, as long as you're breathing, you can stave off going to the doctor. Just saying.
Yeah, and I think, well, I like to think anyway now that he was being facetious when he said that it was this technique that he developed, because then he just said it's breathing.
Right.
So I retract that.
Yeah, and controlled breathing, insofar as like meditation or just in general, is not anything that is a new idea or unique to this guy.
Yeah, well, I bet George Floyd was pretty anxious, and he couldn't just breathe.
Oh, dude. Dude, you're in a different country, so maybe you feel like you got a free pass on that one. Too soon.
Hey, I'm the one that could be arrested for saying that, probably.
Oh, well, okay.
Despite it being in a different country.
All right. Credit where credit's due.
Method and technique. Unfortunately, it's not as powerful as talking about your fears.
Or heroin. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I didn't say anything.
It's telling people what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So
well, we know that's not true.
Right. Yeah.
Well, no, it's probably, breathing, because we all just do it naturally. It's probably not as good as talking about your feelings, but
Sure.
Talking about your feelings isn't very effective either. So
right. And I just want to say that I'm not saying that talking about what's going on with you isn't helpful at all.
Well, of course, yeah.
Right. But it's not. It is not a cure-all. It is not somehow like men are not steam kettles. Okay, it's not a matter of you just need to open up and then all the bad stuff goes away. That's not how it operates. And I'm not even just about men, just people who experience anxiety or chronic anxiety or depression. It's not that there is a physical pressure building up inside of you that all you need to do is just say it out loud, say their names, and somehow it all disappears. That's not what it is. But to know that someone cares, that you do have an outlet somewhere, that can help, but it's not a cure. I just want to make that distinction. I didn't mean to say or indicate otherwise previously, but it's, like I said, it's not a light switch. It's not just get over it kind of thing. That's not how.
Yeah, if you're feeling concerned about something, speak to somebody about it.
Mm-hmm. At least.
But that's not going to fix everything.
Right. Yeah. Be very wary of anybody that tells you that there is a quick fix to anxiety or depression. There isn't. There really isn't.
A lot of time over those next years dealing with things and dealing with my challenges and dealing with other people's challenges and getting into, what might it be that stops men talking about anxiety and the science around it and so on. And in 2014, my father passed away. And that.
Did you cry?
Did you let your daughter see?
Yeah. Did you hug your wife? Did you learn from the death of your friend to not do those things? I know I'm being critical, and this guy doesn't. Like I said about so many speakers before. I don't believe this guy so far means harm. He's not doing anything wrong. But the road to hell is paved with the intentions, etc. So it's one of those things. I can't help myself a little bit.
That was a challenging time. We'd had a difficult relationship.
But
the most.
So you cheered then when he died?
Perhaps he was a breeze box salesman. I don't know.
How dare you break my life's work?
The most challenging thing actually was when I saw him 2 days before his death.
Well, maybe actually the dad. No, well, I'll rephrase that because that was going to be really actually probably too mean. But perhaps his dad wasn't too happy with his choice of career.
Yeah, I wish my son had gone into something that made sense.
I wish my son had kept up the karate and didn't have a beer gut now.
That's a manly gut with a ridge.
Look, he can rest his arms on it.
I know. Look at that shadow. Look at that ridge.
It's hanging over the belt.
He's got a perpetual hangover.
We're so mean.
I know. I'm
masculinity.
I'm usually not this. What's the word I'm looking for? The pepper jack has robbed my vocabulary. The thing where you ad hominem. I'm usually not this ad hominem about the speakers.
Well,
it's
fine. Blame me. It's fine.
No. I do. Don't worry. I do. It's just that your presence here has brought out the third grader in me. And what can I tell you? Wait, that sounds really bad. Never mind. Let's move on.
We said our goodbyes, and as we said our goodbyes, I had a very strange experience in that I seemed to see into his eyes this wonderful, caring, gentle man.
even though he was a Nazi. Oh,
All right.
I've never met. It really shocked me. It really shocked me.
why?
And it shocked me for two reasons. I
Okay.
think.
Oh, 2 reasons. That's a list. At least two of something, or they say they got they say a number. Okay, we have a list. We have 2 reasons. Circle in that one.
Came out and I was thinking, wow. And this new emotional self of me means I cry a bit now and then. So I was like, absolutely.
Wait.
He already cried.
Wait. Okay. And prior to 2008, you never cried when something sad happened. You know, because the only instance so far that you've told us where you cried was in April of 2008. So prior to that, in the entirety of your lifespan to that point, so this is a new emotional state from 2008 to 2014. So did you never cry between 2008 and 2014? I guess it's possible, but seriously? New emotional state. Or was he just like in that emotional state from 2008 through 2004?
He did say emotional self, not state.
Did he say self?
Well, that's what I heard anyway.
I thought he said okay. I'll back up. Maybe. Yeah. Okay.
And it shocked me for 2 reasons. I think I came out and I was thinking, wow. And this new emotional self of me means.
Okay. All right. My bad. But still, new emotional self.
Well, I suppose maybe what he means is he's not ashamed of crying now, but so.
But did he ever resolve why he stopped in front of his daughter?
Well, if he did, he never told us.
That's true. Well, we might be circling leaves out vital context here pretty soon.
Means I cry a bit now and then. So I was like, actually crying a bit, thinking, what was that about?
Uh-huh.
But the thing that was fascinating was that for me, I'd never experienced that. So I felt like I'd missed him. But also it was lovely to see him like that before he died. But I thought to myself, what's he missed? What has he missed through being this successful businessman who's got to be strong and he mustn't show any fear? What does he miss with his relationships with other people?
Oh my God. So for the first time in your entire life in your relationship with your father, you actually empathized with his position only 2 days before he died?
Again, that's on you, man. That's not on your dad.
I mean, you weren't some like naive teenager at that point. You were a grown adult with an 18-year-old. Well, I mean, 18-year-old at 2008. So at that point, she was, probably married or something. So you were a grown man. And only then see, here's the thing. My father was probably the worst thing of my childhood. He was always angry. He was always very short-tempered. He was always very expectant of perfection, so to speak, on my behalf and everything else. And I said at a very young age, I am never going to be like my father. I'm never going to treat the people around me that I love this way. I'm never going to be that guy. And then around 21, 22, the anxiety hit me. And I found myself short to anger. I found myself overreacting to things. And I suddenly forgave my father everything because I understood what had happened to him. It didn't change the things that had happened to me or the way that I'd grown up or sort of how I behaved as a result of trying to be not like my father. But insofar as I held him to account for a lot of the stuff that happened, it just vanished because I could empathize with the guy. And so you're telling me at a grown age in 2014, 2 days before your father dies, only then did you suddenly think to yourself, gosh, what could have my father have gone through to put me where I am or live the life that he did and everything else? And maybe I should, sort of forgive him some of the things that might have been caused by stuff that maybe you yourself have experienced at that point in your life. Really? 2 days before your dad died? I'm almost inclined to circle anecdote that never really happened. That makes no sense, does it?
Well, I don't know. I think it's more sort of post hoc reasoning that he's basically using his this newfound worldview or this ideology that he's sort of taken upon himself. He's now retrospectively applying to his dad, going, well, I suddenly saw what my dad could have been if only he'd known about cognitive coaching. As a younger, he would have been a nicer person and less stoic and blah, 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 blah. But for whose benefit? Was his dad happy? Or was he happy with the way that he was?
Yeah.
We don't know, obviously. So yeah, in a way, it's kind of like it is an anecdote that didn't happen in the sense that, well, that's my sort of interpretation of that, is that he's sort of looking backwards and going, I suddenly saw this, and now I'm going to apply my own kind of, worldview to it, and just so happens to agree with me.
Yeah. Johnny Hellcat, thank you. Maybe that's why Auschwitz was established. Hitler was looking for someone to talk to.
That's even darker than I would have gone.
Wow.
Because they didn't want to talk to him.
I don't know. Okay, Johnny.
Backing away slowly. Disavow.
Thank you, Point Curation. This guy should be checked for autism spectrum. I don't know. This is sort of the benefit and the sort of second guessing of having another voice on. Like, well, is he talking in a way that sounds ridiculous, or is it just this sort of self-revelation does? I mean, not to say that you can't have a empathetic moment very late in life for something that seems obvious to others. And maybe that's my problem. I'm projecting my own expectations of adulthood onto this guy. But
to me, it just seems like he's a guy who's found some kind of woo that makes him feel good, and is then peddling that woo onto others, whether well-meaning or otherwise. That's the way it comes across to me, is that he, maybe who knows, maybe he was an alcoholic or something like that, and then he's found solace in this, whatever it is that he does, and he was like, I've been reformed, you can also be reformed. That's the vibe I'm getting from him.
And that wouldn't be Messiah complex. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat, again. What, too dark? If you go straight to Hitler and Auschwitz, it's about as dark as you can get, I think, in human experience. Just saying. Anyway, moving on.
It was just amazing. And then my next challenge was in November.
Okay.
2016. I'd been to the hospital, had a few...
November of 2016. What happened then? What happened then?
Checkups. Went in and saw the specialist, and he said, I'm sorry to tell you that you've got prostate cancer.
Oh, Jesus. God. And his name is Donald Trump. I'm sorry, you got prostate cancer. We've called it Donald Trump. Okay.
And it's aggressive.
Very masculine. Oh, sorry, no, that's bad. That's bad.
And the prognosis is typically 6 months.
Well, given when this was recorded, as far as I can tell, congratulations on beating the odds.
And it was more than 3 years ago, so
good.
You can imagine I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
Clap.
But
clap.
If you want...
Clap. That's the point where you clap, audience. Seriously. I mean, and sincerely, that's when you clap. The guy just beat cancer for 3 years. Come on.
To focus on what's important to you in life.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you do when you think you've only got a few months left to live.
Sure.
And the love of my wife and my children was wonderful.
Okay.
And it was really helpful.
Good.
And I had lots of messages from well-wishers, people I know.
Okay.
Some of them are actually part of this team and in the audience.
Were they men by any chance?
Plants,
yeah, the magician, yeah. Were any of those well-wishers men, those unemotional, thoughtless, helpless men by any chance?
Did any of those male friends say, look, man, I'm there if you need me, just let me know?
Yeah.
I bet they did.
No, they couldn't have. They don't know how to express their emotions.
No, I bet they did, but he's not going to mention that.
Well, okay. All right.
And every time I got these messages, I cried a bit, but it made me feel okay.
Yeah.
But I got messages also from two of the men that I know.
Only two?
Is that because the rest of them had kind of went, Dave's fucking lost it? I don't even know what this guy's name is. He's not Dave as well, is he?
No, it's Tom something, I think.
Okay. They went, Tom's lost it. Well, that's woo. We're just going to back off.
It's like, Tom, just go die, would you?
Well, I didn't mean that. I meant he doesn't have very many male friends anymore because of the woo and everything. And then he got cancer. Not Tom, saying that they're related either. Jeez.
Tom, I got a spare shed in my backyard. Curl up and die in it, would you?
They never really got into the emotional stuff. They thought kind of all this stuff I do is a bit, oh, yeah, it's okay, but men don't do that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See,
And
most
then,
of his friends went. Tom's lost it. We're away, so he's only got 2 friends, male friends. They went. All right, okay, we'll still deal with him, even though he's always trying to get us to open up.
I got these messages, and one of them was like a eulogy. How many people get to read their eulogy?
anybody who writes it for themselves.
Or their friends write it for them and send it to them, which seems a little bit dark.
Well,
Johnny Hellcat write it.
Well, I mean, there have been living funerals before where like somebody's terminally ill, they have very short time left, and they have basically like a living wake kind of deal, a party reminiscing, kind of do that as a celebration before they actually pass away. I've heard about those things before. So you can do that.
Well, there was a sketch show here in the UK. It was very, very dark. They don't show it anymore, really. In fact,
The young ones?
I don't even remember seeing it on the TV. Have you seen Brass Eye? Have you seen any of that?
No, Monty Python and the young ones are about it.
All right, okay. Well, it was called Jam, and it was written by the same guy that did Brass Eye. And Brass Eye was a sort of satirical kind of thing, it was like a sort of news report kind of thing. It wasn't a news report. It was like sort of mini documentaries on just silly things, but it was very satirical. Anyway, Jam, there was a sketch in that where this guy said that he was going to have a funeral while he was still alive.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, he gets lowered into the ground in like a glass casket with his wife and his children standing at the graveside, like really sad, and he's just looking up at them, smiling and like waving at them. It's grim. It's really, but yeah, I mean that's probably one of the least dark sketches in the whole thing.
They're like, bye.
Yeah, it was rather dark, but it's the fact that he's sort of sitting up in his coffin while the minister's reading bits out of the Bible and stuff during his funeral. And he's just sitting up going, "This is lovely."
All right.
So yeah, if anybody wants, I suggest Johnny Hellcat should go and watch that. He might get some material.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
It's called Jam.
Wonderful.
Jam. Okay.
And as I read this stuff, I cried a bit, but I got stronger.
Okay. You look at. Oh, sorry.
And it's a really strange thing to say, but it was almost like there was some energy coming back into me because of the love I'd had from other men. We take the love often, if we're lucky, in our childhood from our mums and perhaps our sisters and some of our female friends, perhaps.
But of course, male friends never do that.
No, never.
Men in our life never do that. I'm very fortunate that I have so many men in my life who are willing to think the way I do, which is obviously uncommon to all men, even though only 2 of my male friends actually said anything counter to what I expected. Right. Got it.
For me, almost for granted. But when this happened with these men, it was just absolutely amazing. And
amazing. Was it amazing? Really?
It wasn't unbelievable.
Oh!
Really made a difference. So I started shouting and hollering about, I need to get men to understand that they need to talk about their stuff,
Shouting and hollering about, you say? Well, sounds very manly.
What's it all about? Why do you keep hiding it? It's not strong to hide your fears. It's strong to talk about your stuff.
It depends on the circumstances.
Yeah.
It really, really does. Is it, like I can't count how many times in my workplace something will go awry. And so many people, men included, in my office will be losing their shit. Like they don't know what to do. And when you're talking about, especially since I work in technical type stuff, it really is a matter of, okay, there's only a limited number of ways in which this thing could have gone wrong. So we just have to look at the very short list to find out which one it is. So and not tooting my own horn more than anything else. I'm not the only one in my office that does this, but just sort of like stop and say, okay, getting emotional about the situation literally does nothing. It really doesn't. You just have to stop, look at it, figure it out, solve it, and move on. But some people can't help themselves. Okay, so it really does. It depends on the circumstances of the situation. Does it make sense? Is it productive? Is it useful to express your fears or not? And deciding not to isn't inherently bad. I mean, depending on the circumstances, it might be awkward or it might seem bizarre to other people. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, I could go on, but we already have.
And I started doing this at a coffee shop in Banbury, and the local chap there that I know quite well was a boxing club owner. And he said, well, will you come and talk to some of the guys after the boxercise class on Monday? I said, yeah, it'd be great.
Boxercise?
Yeah, I've heard of boxercise.
Okay.
Get those boxers in there and get them talking about their real emotional stuff. It'll be fantastic.
Sounds like a party.
And actually, it went all right. And 2.5 years later, I was still doing it.
Okay.
You get 20 or 30 people in there. It's a pub next door. They're on tea and coffee and biscuits. And we just talk about mental health.
Really? You got a whole bunch of men for years to do that? That is amazing. How do you do it? You must be magic. Because obviously men don't do this of their own accord. You know, given the opportunity to talk about what they're thinking about or what's going on in their lives, they just don't do it. You must have the Midas touch.
They or they're a completely captive audience. Like literally, they've been forced to go there to talk about their own feelings for their own good.
So it's sort of like a masculine Stockholm syndrome. Okay.
And the difference apparently it's made is that, you know, I've got some of these men talking about their story and what they've gone through, and all of a sudden they've started getting better and handled life better. And if you've got the biggest, toughest guy to sort of talk about his stuff, then you found everybody else had stuff to talk about.
Tell me again about the Messiah complex.
Mm.
I'm sorry, I know I'm calling back a little bit, but all the same.
We did a lot of funny stuff as well. I mean, the things we talked about were actually great fun as well.
Yeah.
Like we would talk about.
Yeah. About women's genitalia. What's funny amongst real men who are expressing themselves? I'm curious to know. And right now, the way I've frozen the picture, it almost looks like one of those like stylish self-portrait photograph things you get from like the 70s. Where you have some like close up, and then you have some faded like background, some image of the person. Wow, that's I'm almost artistic. Gosh, that's great.
Car rage.
Car, is that like road rage in America?
I've never heard it being called car rage.
Ooh, new buzzword now.
You thought you call that a buzzword, do you?
Yeah, that comes up a bit, doesn't it?
I think that's just
I should say
being a bit of a numpty, really.
Yeah, car rage. Or maybe that's a PlayStation 2 game.
Or maybe it's
when
mechanics can't fix something. They just
car. Right. Yeah, the engine block is like a breeze block.
Oh, well, yeah. I was going to say they get really angry and then throw breeze blocks through the window. I don't know.
one of the unbreakable breeze blocks available now from my company.
Along the road, and all of a sudden, someone pulls out in front of you.
Yeah.
At the last minute.
Yeah.
And you decide they've been waiting for you personally.
Yeah, and you decide to pull out your gun, right?
Well, of course he's going to think this because he's got a messiah complex. He's a total narcissist, this guy.
To drive down the road.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not a crap driver. They've been waiting for you. They've been sitting there all morning waiting for you to come along.
Yeah, because you're the center of the universe, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and women never get road rage.
No, and women never cut off anybody or vice versa. Yeah, never happens. Never happens.
Because now that's how you feel. What does he or she?
You allowed for road aggression to exist in women? What?
Well, notice how he said he first, and then she was almost like an aside.
Yeah, an afterthought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just on the off chance, because
Think they're doing pulling out in front of me like that, and you want to fight.
Do you? Well, tell us more about how you feel. I'm dying to know. What did you do?
I mean, there's enough crazy people in the world to create fights already, isn't there? Us ordinary folk don't need to be doing that.
Yeah, I should know. I watch TEDx way too often.
But this is how it goes. And for men sometimes, and there are some women as well.
Whoa. Men sometimes and women as well? Wait, sometimes? Sometimes?
You mean it's not applicable to every single adult male in the planet?
But Tail, I thought, you know what? I need some cognitive coaching.
Yeah, I need some cognitive coaching just to smooth out this intangible mess of a hypothesis this guy has.
That have told me the same stories. But for men, there is this whole thing about it. It's almost like someone's trying to challenge me with my strength. And rather than me...
Hang on. I've had road rage before. I didn't want to get out and punch the person. I just wanted to shout at them because I got a fright and that was how I responded. It was just like, you fucking blah, 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 whatever. But then I just kept on driving, right? I mean, I know sometimes people get out and they want to punch the crap out of you or whatever. But that's if we're going to be talking about how he reacts to things, then we're as well talking about how I react to things. And it's because anger can be a response to getting a fright. For example, like when you're a child and you nearly do something dangerous, and your parents get angry at you, they're not angry at you. They got a fright that something was going to happen to you, and that's the way that it manifests itself as a sort of an angry kind of way. So it's more complicated than just you just want to punch the guy for being an idiot. That's not really how it works.
No, Tail, that's your feminine side talking. Every real man has a fire axe at the ready in their car to jump out and go after anybody who cuts them off. What's wrong with you? Jeez.
What can I say? I've been neutered by the feminist society in which I live.
God, do you have like soy haggis or something?
Vegan haggis. Yeah.
Vegan haggis.
That is a thing. I have.
Oh no, I can believe it. It
was actually quite nice. It was all right.
Oh no, we've lost you already.
Oh no, this was years ago. It was once, and
that's all it takes.
Well, I've not had it since, and yeah.
Okay.
You say it's okay and let it go. Yeah. I need to fight it.
You need to fight. Well, what have you done? I want to know about your car rage. Yeah.
I need to fight it.
Yeah.
And it's a real challenge, and it's something that we really need to.
We, white man, or you?
Yeah, it becomes more insidious as soon as he's talking about himself, and then just immediately flips it to you and we and us all, and
we men, us men, etc.
Yeah.
To move away from, if we want to have a healthy life.
If you mean we, you mean you. I can agree with that. You shouldn't feel like you have to go out and fight somebody because they cut you off in traffic. It sucks. But yeah, if that's your instinct, that is your problem.
So you can go down the gym and you can work on your biceps and your lats and whatever other muscles we've got.
If only you would. Oh, sorry. I know that's mean. That's mean.
That's basically what I said as well.
Yeah. Okay. You go to a boxing gym and talk to guys about their feelings, but you don't actually make use of the gym. Okay.
I think he's gay.
Moving on.
Does that make sense though? He goes around, hangs around all these different sort of places where men hang out all the time and tries to get them to talk about their feelings. Sounds a bit homoerotic to me.
Okay.
Is this chat agree with me? Come on.
Don't know them, don't. But inside, your body can be falling apart. It can be falling apart.
For you, it's not on the inside. Oh, sorry. Oh, God, I did it again.
Because when you hit the stress response system, which is supposed to be for emergencies, and that pressure cooker is building up and up.
We're not pressure. I just said this earlier. We're not steam kettles. Pressure cooker. That is not a correct metaphor for what goes on. Okay. Now, not to say that
we are no kitchen appliance.
Yeah. Now, not to say that having an outlet for things and being able to, let those things go. Sure, you could extend the metaphor a little bit, but that's not the mechanics of it. If you're talking about actual anxiety and depression, instantaneous circumstantial road rage, Maybe, but that's not what you started out with.
I'm sorry. The chat. Well, at least a few people agree with me, and then Faithless just said, "Now he's miming fisting."
I just want to pound it in. He's doing a very aggressive action here, isn't he?
Oh, he's had experience. That's
okay.
And up, and keeps coming back.
That could not have been any better.
Okay. I'm bringing back my mature mind. I'm trying.
Sorry, I am.
No.
I am bringing the tone of the stream down somewhat.
You're bringing childish back. You.
With no relief valve, you are starting to destroy your body.
Wait.
Well, fisting will do that, yeah.
Well, is that where the prostate cancer?
Oh no! Oh, I never even thought of that.
Oh no! What did I do? What have I done? Oh no!
And that can end up, and does end up, often with heart attack, strokes, blood pressure problems,
And
lowered immunity,
And-
stuff that will potentially take you a lifetime to recover from.
okay.
Hopefully it doesn't, but it can potentially if you can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, it's okay. Oh, look at that clown pulled out in front of me. I better pull back a bit. And I hope they'll be all right, because who knows what's happened with them when they pulled out. But come back. No.
It doesn't get any better.
I'm doing my breathing exercises.
I can't do them. I'm laughing too hard. Yeah, that'll happen if people pull out too quick.
Well, that was painful.
Lady's got a prostate left.
It destroyed my insides. Oh my God. Okay.
And the big problem for me is that we still find it so hard to talk about our fears.
Okay.
We still find it so hard to talk about our fears.
Yeah.
And we let it get on top of us.
Oh, gosh. No. Oh, God.
Make it stop.
Why? Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh. Okay.
I'm never getting invited back on, am I?
Okay.
And the way we can stop this is by starting to talk to other men about what's going on.
Uh-huh.
See,
And I'm not a great believer of saying, how are you doing?
The first anecdote was you asking a guy how he was doing or what went wrong. Wait, what do you mean you're not a bloke? You did that before your grand revelation. What are you talking? Before your friend died, where you had this new emotional self you were talking about, you were asking a guy about what was going on with him in the karate class. What do you? Did I miss something?
no, sorry.
Yeah, no, I know. It's fine. It's okay.
God.
It's okay. Your toxic masculinity, just deal with it as you will. Okay.
Sorry. We knew this was going to be, internally inconsistent from the get-go, really, didn't we?
Well, I don't know. It just seems like it's such a specific contradiction, given the example that he brought up at the beginning of this, and to now say, oh, I'm not that type of guy. Like, what do you mean?
But, yeah, I mean, was it him? Did he say that he asked?
Let me
or was it someone else?
Let me make sure.
And the way we can stop this is by starting to talk to other men about what's going on. And I'm not a great believer of saying, how are you doing?
See, I'm not a great believer in saying, how are you doing? I mean, if he's talking very, very literally, then maybe. But I mean, abstractly speaking, that's what exactly he did with the karate guy. Thank you, Johnny Hellcat. Is he going to come out by the end of the talk? Who knows?
Oh, a big reveal.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Great. Okay.
Okay, well, if you're just talking, okay, if you mean just like coffee talk, if you're talking about surface level stuff. But then, of course, if the other person doesn't want to give up anything, what are you going to do? Get out a pry bar and get it out of them?
Yeah, I mean,
it is circumstance. Don't get me wrong. It depends on the circumstance. Just meeting somebody on the street kind of thing, casual chit chat kind of deal. Okay, fine. You don't believe in just trying to get into somebody's whatever by just asking them how they're doing, and you just leave it at that. Okay, all right, fine. But it takes two to tango here.
Yeah.
I don't like that. If you say, how you doing again, personally, that doesn't work for me either, because men get a bit irritated. What do you mean, how am I doing? I just told you.
Well, yeah, if you repeat yourself without prompting.
Yeah. Or if you say, no, but how are you within yourself? Then yeah. I might respond with anger at that point.
Yeah. Or especially if the person you're talking to doesn't have any clue of what you're looking for. Like maybe they don't. If you assume they have a problem because they're a man, maybe they think you're what are you trying to be intrusive, or you assume they're lying to you or something, or
yeah. I mean, there's better ways. Yeah, I mean, he's right. There's better ways. If you're wanting to, say to somebody that, or try and ask them how they are in such a way that means actually, are you okay?
Yeah.
You can either ask, is everything okay?
Yeah.
And depending on the response, you can say, well, I'm here if you need, if anything isn't okay, that's fine.
Sure.
It's it depends on the person as well. You know what your friends are more likely to respond to. And maybe you're better saying, well, what's on your mind?
Sure. There you go. Yeah. Thank you, John Miller. Does he mean how are you doing small talk, or how are you doing a psychiatrist? Well, again, context, the person you're talking to, how you phrase it, and also like, I mean, if you sense or someone is going through something versus just sort of, I don't know, interrogating someone through repetition because you don't believe them, that they're not being fully honest with you, and you should. If he's advising against that kind of thing, okay, let's see what he says.
Yeah, but if you sense that somebody's not okay,
yeah,
you're probably right.
Messiah complex.
Well, I mean, and if it's your friend, yeah, you're probably going to know when something doesn't seem right.
Yeah, if you see somebody crying on the street and you've never met them before, it's probably an easy guess.
Yeah, it's no great revelation.
Yeah. So when you, in your youthful self, noticed that your karate friend wasn't performing as he did in the past, you had a notion that something was up, right? You empathized.
Yeah, so you didn't ask, how are you, or how are you doing?
Right.
You asked, what went wrong, or what?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And again, if that's what he's advising to do, rather than just the very surface level, are you okay, or what's going on? Okay. I don't necessarily disagree, but at the same time, it almost sounds like that's something that should be some sort of like mystery to most men. But I don't know, maybe I'm confusing myself now.
So if you say, how you doing? They say, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So do you fancy a coffee tomorrow? Or is you getting together? Or a few of us are going for a walk. And start talking to those people, but also be prepared to talk to your mates and say, listen, I'm really struggling at the moment. Have you got a bit of time? Could you have a coffee with me? I don't know what's going on.
And that never happens amongst men at all?
I mean, this is a long way to go around saying, look, guys, if you ever feel trapped or anything like that, reach out to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's fine for kind of surface level stuff. It's a start.
Yeah. And if you care about somebody, you sense something's wrong, be more engaging than just, how are you doing? Okay. I can't argue with that. But at the same time, none of this is some grand revelation for most thinking adults. Whereas it sounds, again, just listening to it, it sounds like he thinks the universe exists elsewise to just common human experience, crying when your friend dies. And then like, oh, now I have to like rein myself in because my daughter walked in the room or something. Like that's a fault in you? Or this is uncommon? Or the men in the audience who are the guys that sent you the well wishes when you got your diagnosis, they're just the special ones? I mean, maybe this guy's experience is just so limited or something that he just doesn't understand that it's not uncommon.
I mean, a lot of it's going to be a cultural thing as well.
True. I mean, it could be.
I mean, he's in Coventry. I mean, I'd like him to go out into a mosque and give this talk and see what sort of reception he gets.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not even meaning that to be in an edgy sort of way. I just mean it's a completely different culture. They would tell him to get fucked. Kafir.
Yeah, and I mean, and you're only 2 letters difference between covent and convent.
Nice.
I'm getting really stressed about stuff.
No.
Because if we do it, it's a two-way street, and they'll come back to us. And, you know, we talk about all these changes in the world, okay, and this is a very short talk, but this is
This is not a short talk. This is 18 minutes. TEDx talks range at best about 13 to 15 minutes at the most. You're going long distance, dude. I got to tell you. But maybe things are different in Coventry.
massive. You know, if we can...
Oh, you know what it is? I just realized. The metric system.
Is it what that metric time that we're well known for in Britain?
Yeah, I mean that whole like
100 seconds in a minute.
Yeah, that Greenwich metric time. That's what GMT means, right?
I try to think what you think BST stands for then.
Oh, well, I thought you said BSD for a second.
No. Blue Screen of Death.
No. Well,
BDSM thing you were thinking
no,
of.
No. You said BSD, and the gamers out there might get this one. I thought you were saying Black Spiral Dancers. And Black Spiral Dancers or BSDs are.
Yeah, that means nothing to me.
That is a deep cut for any gamers out there, or gamers of a specific game or world of games. Anyway,
well, I think John Miller just summed it up there. It's a TEDx talk about nothing. That's essentially what. There's nothing of any great value has actually been said in this whatsoever.
It's the Seinfeld of TEDx talks.
It's like don't kill yourself, guys.
No, please don't kill yourself. Talk it out, even if it doesn't seem like it's helping. It might not dismiss the demon, but it's certainly better than keeping it all to yourself all the time and thinking that there is no pathway to something different.
And as Robert Smith from The Cure once sang, "Big boys don't cry." I think that's how the song went.
The Cure. Wow, that
was even earlier than EMF.
Oh, you got to be Mr. Fantastic to make that reach.
To deal with this stuff, all of a sudden we're dealing with the issues around ego. We're dealing with all these problems. We're starting to bring the whole thing down to a point where we're just being ourselves.
Okay, so he's basically saying that men are too prideful to talk about their emotions. Is that the implication there?
I mean, okay, in a cultural sense, maybe he's got a point there somewhere. I mean, like you said before, it all depends on culture. It all depends on, personal relationships and so on. So maybe, but let's be honest here. If we can be, problems with ego, bringing oneself down to a level where you can just talk and be natural. That is a human experience, not a male experience or problem, depending on how you look at it.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It's like this Buddhist idea, isn't it? With a rope that the elephant's got, and you're the other end of it.
What?
That's about how men are. And you're trying to pull it.
Yeah.
And you just let it go, can't you? It's okay.
Well, but then the elephant gets away.
Dick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but then the elephant gets away and rampages through the town and kills all the children. What do you do then?
Well, another thing is, why doesn't he get another man to help him?
And here's the other thing. And Yeah.
Put a band together to do something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but here's the other thing. Okay. Just to take that metaphor a little bit further. What if I am the man in this example, and the man represents my rational self, and the elephant is all the garbage inside of me that I have no control over? What if holding onto that rope as tenuously as I can is me thinking I'm doing everybody else a favor by not letting this garbage get out into the wild? I mean, that's what I was doing. That's what my father tried to do. And as I was doing every day when I was dealing with this stuff before I started getting some help for it. And that was just like locking down and just saying, I'm going to focus on doing my work or doing this or whatever else. I don't want what's going on inside of me to affect the people that I care about or come out in ways that are obviously inappropriate or unproductive. Maybe that's how some men see themselves in their situation. They're having to be sort of a hero unwillingly against their own monster. You know what I mean?
What if actually they're trying to hold back the tide of feminism? The elephant is a feminist.
Now, Tail, we don't body shame here, even if the guy's got a shelf.
I didn't. Elephants are fucking hench, you know.
Yeah, I mean, despite his hangover, we don't body shame here.
Let it go, and that ability to just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Longer.
Yeah.
And
wait, is this an ad for Frozen? Oh.
Maybe
it's the stealth Disney campaign.
So he's an anti-Semite then. Will keep us in a world that could even be better.
In a world.
If we say, look, actually, I really struggle.
Wow.
And the most important thing that I've learned through this is that.
Oh, here comes, guys. The most important thing. All right, this is the last minute of the presentation. We're getting to the crux of it. Okay.
Most from Breeze Blocks. Look, it's in shot.
Anybody can help us. You could go to a professional, go to a counselor, a coach, whatever.
How about a drug dealer?
That would work.
I mean, anybody can help us? Okay.
But if you talk to other men about it, there's something that changes dynamically.
Why? You just told us that men don't know how to express their emotions. They don't know how to handle emotions. They don't know how to interpret emotions.
But as soon as they talk to another man, boom.
Yeah, boy, it's like nitro and glycerin, man. For happiness, something.
It's like we're all right now. You know, it's not that there's something weak about me. Actually, the strength is to talk about what is going on.
Maybe you just like talking to men?
That's what I'm telling you, man.
I don't. Damn it. Okay.
And to be honest about it.
Yeah.
And through my own lessons, I've got to that point and I'm trying to do all the work I can to do about that. And this was a great opportunity to talk to a group of people to say, please, if you know any men that you think are struggling, please just ask them how they are and do something with them. Get a coffee shop talk going every week. Get a walk and talk going.
Okay. And again, as I said before, I don't begrudge that sentiment if you sense in someone that you know, male or female, that something's up that they're struggling with. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And so on that point, I agree with the speaker in isolation of that sentiment.
And part of the other thing is, yeah, the with the decline of your traditional industries and stuff like that, and also the feminization of sort of society in the sense that you're not allowed men-only clubs and, you know, all these kinds of things that we used to have, that, yeah, men don't have a place to sort of, you know, get together and even just sort of have a laugh and all. I mean, I know you can still sort of, well, not right now, but generally speaking, men can still go down the pub and have a laugh and all that kind of stuff. But there's far less community cohesion and stuff like that. So, yeah, if they want to set up, there's things in the UK and in other countries as well called men's sheds, and they're essentially a place where you can go, where men can go and they can learn about, you know, woodwork and stuff like that. It's not so much about what they do; it's the fact that they make a little community of friends and what have you. So that's fine. That's absolutely fine, and I think that does need to be encouraged.
Sure.
But to imply that that's the be all and end all of men's health problem and mental health problems is a little bit disingenuous and perhaps dangerous.
Well, I mean, and given the title of the presentation, anxiety, why men don't get it. Everything this guy's told us so far is that men do. They just need to talk to each other about it. Now, I'm not saying that is accurate, but it belies the message that we started out with. And okay, well, we're almost done, so let's finish up when we talk.
Go and have a chat. Get a fire pit going and sit around it and talk about the
beat drums together. Oh yeah,
real stuff. Have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
How are you doing with smiling at the moment? What do you mean smiling? That's what I mean. You're not smiling, are you?
Wait, are you telling men to smile more? Oh shit, son. Oh no.
That's fine that way around, though.
Okay, if you say so. I had a Me Too moment there.
Whatever. Have some fun with it.
Break the block, break the block, break the block.
Yeah, over your knee, over your knee, over your knee.
Please.
Over your gut, over your gut.
Why did you carry that thing out? Seriously. You could have just referenced it and it would have been fine, but you had to bring it out and you're not going to do anything with it? Unless the close is going to be him, like, hefting the block with 2 fingers or something. Like, see, I can carry the weight.
Well, if it's actually just been an allegory, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Men to talk about their fears, and the men in the audience talk about your stuff. Thank you.
That tells you you're done. Oh.
Break the block, break the block, break the block.
You know what? I cut it off because what happens is at the beginning and end of TEDx talks, they start playing this little musical cue thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I'm not 100% sure whether or not that would trigger some kind of algorithm deal. So I always cut it off just before that begins, just in case. So yeah, we'll never know. I assume, given everything else he said and given his physique, he just picked it up and walked away.
And then shoved it up his ass.
No! Okay, well, we have seen it. We have listened to it. You've listened to us. Let's go over the bingo card one more time here, and I will take arguments for or against decisions as we proceed. So far, here's what we have circled. Childhood or family anecdote, gratuitous pausing for effect, a list. I think there was more than one in there, but they were brief. Free space, of course, is circled, and benevolent condescension. All right, let's go over the ones that have not been circled, and we'll consider them one at a time. Self-vilification or wretchedness. I think that qualifies. What do you think?
Well, I mean, he to begin with, he did sort of put himself down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's got a messiah complex. So is that not the opposite? Does that cancel that out?
I don't think the presence of one says the other didn't happen, because he's still saying that he's fighting against his inherent instincts, right? That this is uncommon is what he's indicating.
Yeah. No, so, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, he's hearing his own flaw through, cognitive coaching. Takes credit for something done or experienced by others in their demographic.
Not really.
Really, not that I noticed in some way. I mean, there was very little self-aggrandizement here, except in sort of like the "my ideas cure everything," but that was all self. That wasn't like external. He's basically saying that he is uncommon amongst his demographic, not that he's taking credit for anything within his demographic.
Yeah.
Equity. Well, he never said the word or used that concept in any particular way.
And he did include women in certain bits.
That is true.
Having the same issues.
Yeah, even if it was reluctantly or afterthought-ish.
Yeah.
Microaggressions, unconscious bias, never brought up the concept.
No.
Patriarchy, never even alluded to that, really.
No.
Which is surprising. Leaves out vital context. What happened with his daughter? What was the whole daughter thing?
Yeah, and his dad as well. You can't really take him at his word for those anecdotes,
right? Or why they were significant. Like, what was it? What did it mean that you had to stop in front of your adult daughter crying? Why?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Again, it was just sort of left there to sort of be the assumption. Then was, it's because he doesn't know how to talk about his feelings or anything like that.
Point curation, thank you. Good show, lads. Thank you, Point. Appreciate it. School to prison pipeline was never an object of the conversation.
No.
Toxic, he never said the word. I mean, if I was being very, very generous, I could say that the overall message here was to avoid toxic masculinity, but he never made it
No, he never even used the word masculinity.
really, no, that I can recall. Anecdote that probably never happened. Again, when someone is being as self-defeatist / deprecating as he has been for the most part, it's difficult for me to see any of those anecdotes as somehow unreal, because he's effectively putting himself down in the process. Now, maybe he's making them up to be worse than they are, but that's difficult to suss out for me.
Yeah, I think they probably did happen, but then he's embellishing them with his current worldview,
Yeah.
imposing his current worldview on his past self. So
Yeah.
the stories that they don't have any element of truth to them.
Attempt to coin new buzzword, buzz phrase. Unless we're going to call cognitive coaching, but he only said it once.
He did.
So
he sort of said it quite blasé, as if it's quite a thing.
So maybe that's a more maybe that is like the British academic version of cognitive behavioral therapy kind of thing.
Well, I've never heard it being called that, and I've had it, but I just quickly Googled cognitive coaching, and there's lots of stuff on it.
Okay, so we're not talking about something that is self-invented. And and again, the key phrase or something to that effect I always look for is something I like to call, or whatever. That is usually when somebody's trying to brand their idea, and I didn't hear that from him. Feminism, not explicitly, and I mean, again, if I was being really generous, maybe I could say that he was expounding the feminist view about how men should see themselves, but maybe that's just me. What do you think?
I think, yeah, I mean, he probably does think that, but he never explicitly said that.
And again, much to the chagrin of chat sometimes, I can waver here and there, but the bingo card is sacred. Okay, if it didn't come up or it's not reasonable, I don't circle it. Marginalization. He never brought up marginalized communities or anything like that.
No, because he was talking about men.
Yeah, who deserve to be. Make something about race, sex, etc. for no reason.
I suppose it was about sex for no reason, the whole thing.
Yeah, because he kept. I mean, whatever credit I can extend to him, intellectual credit, he did include women and sometimes men in different places where he got very explicit about behaviors. So, but all the same, he kept bringing up men as though it was somehow unique to them, ego traps or expressing their emotions or not expressing them. Yeah, the whole talk kind of.
I mean, it'd be different if he said, men have penises. Then you sort of go, well, yeah, he's making it about men, but that's because it's something specific to men.
Right.
Most of the things that he was talking about aren't necessarily specific to men, and not all men as well. So
obviously not him, because he was like the grand exception, and karate friend. So word salad. I never heard anything that sounded gobbledygook. There's a difference between not agreeing with something or somebody saying a bunch of stuff that, it's like I said before in a previous TEDx, it's sort of like, I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it. Word salad, if I hear it, it's pretty reflexive, and I didn't hear anything that really went word salad on me.
Yeah, I mean, he was using wanky language, but that's not the same thing.
Wage gap, he never brought up economies in any way, shape, or form. Speaker should not be in current occupation or position. Well, if I take him at his word, he is good at what he does. But I don't know. If we assume he is a cognitive coach and we take him at his word at his success rate, do you think he should not be doing what we presume he is doing?
Probably. Probably think that. I mean, assuming if this was as in depth as you could go in 18 minutes, and basically say nothing at all, that adults shouldn't just come to these conclusions kind of themselves anyway, then I worry for his patience.
All right, I will defer to my my friend on this one in circles. Speaker should not be in current occupation or position. Systemic institutional. I don't think he ever said anything about systems or institutional this, that, or the other.
No. I mean, it was probably
implied.
It was probably just a given, really, that that's what he thinks, but he never explicitly mentioned it. So I would not circle that one.
Yeah, and if he had been more vehement about something like what societal institutions expect, something like that, even if he didn't say institutions, but like if he'd said more about like the expectations of society, but he just kind of talked about what men expected of themselves mostly.
And
I don't know, like I say, it's one of those things, it'd be a little bit of a stretch. Plays victim. Making himself the victim versus plays victim, yeah. It's sort of a sincerity thing. Like, is he taking upon himself some kind of oppression that is undue? And in the sense that he's vilifying men and what he is without real reason or cause, sure, but it didn't.
I don't think it was really vilifying either. It was just like undermining them, really.
Well, that's why in the other square I said self-vilification or wretchedness, sort of like making yourself a terrible person or something. But plays victim, like they're just sort of artificially accepting it. I didn't sense that.
He was obviously the two stories they gave about the cancer and everything like that. He was playing to the audience's emotions.
Yeah, I guess. And he was, and God forbid, he was also building himself up slightly, like I survived cancer. I don't know. I'll sit on that one for a second. Cultural appropriation, that was never a concept or brought up in the talk.
No.
And white supremacy privilege, race, surprisingly enough, in some talks I've seen before, he never brought up race, so good on him. Yeah. So the only outlier is maybe plays victim, maybe, depending on how you interpret his.
Should we defer to the chat, or is that not something you do?
I do defer to the chat. Sometimes they give me a good argument for it, but otherwise, aside from plays victim, I think all the other squares that have been circled are there, and all the ones that haven't didn't make the cut. So if you guys have any thoughts on the plays victim notion, either way, we're not going to reach a bingo on this one. We're at least 2 or 3 squares off on depending on which line you're looking at.
John Miller says plays the simp.
Well, he never
I don't think that he played. He definitely played the soy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that might be more accurate. He never talked about like he had to live up to his wife's expectations or something. Yeah, maybe that a little bit, or I don't know. But anyway, guys, I'll give the next couple of minutes. We're already. Now, understandably so with a second speaker here, but I want to try to wrap this up reasonably in about 2 hours or thereabouts. So next couple of minutes, you got anything you want to say, put in the chat now. I will get the bingo card ready for display as is. If we do decide on plays victim, I will correct that as we go. While I get this ready, hey, Tailed, tell people about your channel, what you've been up to, what you got going, all that fun stuff. And by the way, guys, link to Tail's channel and Twitter are in the description below.
Yeah, I'm sure most people here probably know me, but if you don't, I tend to occasionally make videos these days. I've kind of after spending probably about a year berating Ranting Monkey for not making videos anymore and just doing live streams, I've pretty much reverted to just doing live streams now. I have a weekly show on a Wednesday, which is at 10 p.m. UK time, so I have no idea what that is in American time. Well,
let's see. If 8 p.m. is noon, then it's 2 hours after that. 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Pacific time, and that would be 5 p.m. Eastern time.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, it's all just British people in the stream, so I don't even have to. I don't have anyone to ask about what it is in different time zones. That's the main thing that I do these days. Although I do have a couple of videos in the works and also some musical stuff that I've been working on as well.
Let's see. Well, the way StreamYards has sized the screen, I can't show the whole bingo card, but you get the gist. That's the totality of it. Otherwise, I don't know if I can shrink that from here. But either way, you can see the bingo card as it stands. The only one that that isn't quite decided upon yet would be Plays Victim, which is cut off, unfortunately, but I don't think I can fix that for the sake of this. But anyway, let's see. Assassin the Gray Scribelight. It was right then when I realized my toxic Huite masculinity maximized my inherent evil and racism. Self-inflicted castration is your only path to salvation. Praise Yanni. Deep. Okay. Anal in Scribelight. BSD gang, worm is life. And worm is spelled with a Y, guys. Just remember, the worm, when it comes to the guru, is WYRM. And the black spiral dancers are those who have danced the spiral down to the bottom of corruption.
Is it not pronounced worm?
I don't know. Is that the more Gallic version?
No, that's the way I say.
Oh,
that word.
Yeah. Well, there's a distinction. The worm, whatever you call it, is sort of the how can I best simply put it? It's sort of like the universal force of entropy and decay and corruption. And this is what the Guru fight against in their fight to preserve Gaia, the spirit of earth and life and everything else. So the worm and Gaia are in constant battle with one another. And so the werewolves fight against the worm. And there is your 30-second education on Werewolf the Apocalypse. As far as the old World of Darkness series of books, I have no idea what they're doing with the most recent editions because I ain't touching 5th Ed Vampire if my life depended on it. I'm just not doing it. 3rd Ed, V20, sure. 5th Ed, not doing it. Let's see. Anybody else got anything else before we wrap it up? Rack 3D says he's not playing Victim. Well, that's the thing is like the square implies a disingenuous to it. Like they are bringing upon themselves a victimhood that doesn't actually exist. When he is victimizing himself through his self-wretchedness and deprecation. So he's not playing. That's sort of where my mind is at. He really believes that he is in a faulty position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Let's see. Quinn the Cultist, Scribelight, nerd. Hey, that stuff, all that gaming stuff was like 15 years of my life perpetually. And insofar as the tabletop stuff's concerned, I miss it a lot. I wish I could do tabletop stuff again, but current circumstances and social life elsewise, I don't. Although I have come across a revised or a pre-publication version of a Fallout tabletop game. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, I would love to run that game. So who knows? I've said it before. Probably won't happen, but you never know. Faithless says, Stolen Victim Valor. He's at war with himself. So he is both the Axis and the allies of his own problems. So I don't know if it's stolen valor. He's just creating it for himself in his Messiah complex. John Miller, thanks for the suffering, all the brain damage. Been fun to listen to. Well, all things considered, it's been very fun for me and very entertaining. And so, we're going to wrap this up here. First and foremost, Tailed, thank you so much for taking the time to join me on this. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much as I did without you here. I mean that sincerely.
I don't think it would have got nearly as immature as it did without me.
Well, given how studious and academic I tend to take these things elsewise, I appreciate a little bit of a vacation to just sort of let loose. So,
well, someone in the chat earlier did say that you should invite me every time, but I think that's probably pushing it a bit.
Well, time zones and everything else. I mean, I do, if you guys hadn't noticed, and I'm going to take a little bit of late credit for this, the overlay I cooked up with the moon background and the screen frame and the little portholes over, I am very proud of that. I had to cook that up freehand effectively and sort of imagine that all on my own. And as soon as Tailed showed up, sort of delayed to join the stream before I went live, and the entire time I'm sitting there going like, oh my god, I hope it lines up. Oh my god, I hope it lines up, because I don't know until he shows up. And then when he did and it all lined up, I was like, So, but anyway, the short version is, now that I've made that, I intend to use it more often. and I at least have a tenuous schedule to do one with Satsu in the near future. And if I can nail down a time with Monkey, I'll do that too. And of course, I've done ones with Blind Press before, maybe more in the future. Who knows? Either way, guys, Tail, thank you again for joining me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. This little series experiment of mine would not be nearly as entertaining or worthwhile if you guys weren't here. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you all so much for your participation, and especially thank you so much for your generosity. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to hear more from me, by any chance, you can find me tonight on my own channel, this very channel, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for Lords of the Night, where we'll talk about the news of the day, the news stories that you guys submit, what the three of us have been up to on the intertubes, and then your questions and comments. Everyone, please stay safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Giv deg, Ive.
What he said, because I'm a terrible student.